about smelling the goal. You love that in a striker, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's an instinct. You're basically going to a place in the area where you're thinking is the most likely the ball is going to drop. And that's it, that you've got a smell, you've got an instinct of that. And of course, when the ball dropped to him, then I think it was no doubt where the ball was going to end up. So it was, a brilliant finish, but a heartbreaking finish for Manchester United.
Yeah, and is that something that he perhaps didn't have naturally and he's really worked on?
I think so. I don't watch him and think natural finisher. I don't ever see him and think, wow, he's a man that's going to get 30 goals. But I do think he's improved a lot. I think he's a big, strong guy that does everything. He's a good, strong runner. He's good in the air. He can finish off both feet. I think he's got movement in the box that's probably underestimated as well. I've watched him a few times and just focused on his movement. And we all talk about Cavani, I do in particular, because I think he's the best in the world at movement. But he's very, very good. I've seen him score near post goals, great time in the runs, far post goals. And today, of course, right in the centre of the goal, again, smelling where that ball's going to drop.
Yeah. From a Manchester United point of view, how frustrating will it be the way they conceded that goal, though?
Yeah, a bit disappointing because it was a scrappy goal, wasn't it? They gave the free kick away and they invited a little bit of pressure, I suppose. They're allowed then to just knock the ball into the box. They throw the keeper up, it causes a little bit of mayhem. And there isn't anybody dominant enough to come and really head it away and get through people. And it gets scrappy. I think it bounced off Michael Keane first. There was a suspicion of handball, I suppose, with Calvert-Lewin, but you see clearly it comes off his stomach. And can the keeper be a little bit braver? I have to question him slightly. I think he comes out a little bit wincing, not making himself possibly as big as he can do. And but give credit to Calvert-Lewin. I thought he was excellent on the night. I thought his movement, his running behind was really good, and he got the goal he deserved. Interesting
as well, Steve. We just highlight the line here and how high Manchester United's line is, only because when we go on to look at McTominay's goal, we'll see how deep that Everton have tended to play off these free kicks this season. But in terms of the goal, it was a decent ball in, left-footed, in-swinger, little touch from Michael Keane, and then it just hits Calvert-Lewin in the chest and bounces really, really, really favourable. I agree with Scholesy. I think David De Gea has got to make himself big. He's got to make himself strong and be very, very brave. Dive with your hands, dive with your body at the feet. I think he comes out and he's very passive. And, that's where you're going to get hurt as a goalkeeper. But this is the last second of the game. You've got to spread yourself. He makes it so easy for Calvert-Lewin. I'm expecting more from a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't actually think it was a great free kick. I don't think the quality was that good, and they get a little bit lucky with the bounce. I think he'll be trying to whip that round the back of them, and players attack it, and they do get a little bit lucky. But as Michael said, De Gea, he's got to be bigger, he's got to be stronger, he's got to be more of a threat to Calvert-Lewin. Almost won't make Calvert-Lewin jump out of the way or make him a little bit scared. I don't think he would get scared. He doesn't seem that type to me, but David definitely has to do better.
OK, so you said it was a strange game because you didn't see the second half coming. Right at the start of it, Everton back in at 2-1, set the tempo, didn't it, from their point of view?
It did. I mean, we said at half-time, next goal is absolutely key. And it was a brilliant goal from Everton, back to front, passing along the back, lovely run from Calvert-Lewin. He's basically telling Harry Maguire there, bring me down, and it's a penalty. So he lets him go. Shaw probably lets his man go as well. But we'll see it in more detail. And really is a fantastic goal. If we look here, it starts with the right back and it actually gets spread across and ends up being in the left back position. Now Manchester United closed down pretty well. You see, I can't even see who it is there, but Cavani's got him in the corner. And now in this stage here, I think Manchester United are in a great position. You've got everyone boxed off. Wan-Bissaka's come to close down, and all of a sudden, where can he go with this ball? I mean, he can only probably go back, and I don't even know whether what players is free to go that. But the key is, as we just highlight, Greenwood here, he spots Gomez and he thinks, I've got to close this one down, and that is the trigger. That knocks 1, 2, 3, 4 men of Manchester United, maybe even 5, out of the game. If you just watch this when we roll it on, he takes a step to his left just because he sees Gomez there, and all of a sudden Tom Davies comes into that area and bang, 4 or 5 players of Manchester United out of the game, Scholesy.
Yeah, it's a really good bit of play from Tom Davies. So obviously Dini with a pass, as you said, takes 4 or 5 people out of the game. Then the movement from Calvert-Lewin, the weight of pass from Tom Davies. I actually thought Maguire was going to clip him then, but he managed to stay off that. And again, the goalkeeper has to be questioned. There's a chance he could leave it, or could he catch it? I don't think it's a really hard ball from Calvert-Lewin, and David really there is putting his touch right back into a dangerous area of the pitch, and Decore gobbles a chance up.
Yeah, third goal in his career against Manchester United. So he turned from scorer to provider. 3 minutes 17 seconds later, it was 2-2.
Yeah, it was. Another good goal from Everton's point of view. You know, they get it wide, they get it through the middle, they get it, all over the place. They knock the ball in. But here, I think we're probably looking at Fred as the culprit here. No question about it. James, what a lovely first touch. Sits up perfectly for him. As soon as that bounces up, you just know it's going in the back of the net. But again, when you look at it from a Manchester United point of view, I do think that it could be avoided. And I think it's Fred gambling here, Scholesy. I mean, it's something that you did in your career. You would gamble, you would, anticipate a ball. But if you just look here, Fred is actually pointing here. He says, go on, you go and pick up that man, because I'm here. I've got this sorted. But then, even though he thinks he's got it sorted, I think he gambles, commits to try to intercept instead of jockeying and closing down. I don't know what you think, Scholesy. Yeah,
well, it's exactly what he does. He will be in that position. He'll be slightly worried about Calvert-Lewin. Harry Maguire stood too far off and too deep, but then he knows exactly where Rodriguez. He tries to read it, and as soon as he misses it, he's in no man's land. There's nothing he can do. You have to give credit to Rodriguez. A great first touch, and you knew, didn't you, on his left foot. As soon as that ball sat up, you knew he was going to score.
And the irony was, Carlo Ancelotti was about to bring him off for Gylfi Sigurdsson just before that.
Yeah, how often does that happen? I mean, and if there was one person that you wanted on the pitch for the touch, and of course we all know how good his left foot is, lets it come across him, touches it. I almost think if it's on the floor, it makes it a harder finish. When it's bouncing, you just get natural power off a bouncing ball. And as soon as it sat up, we looked at each other, and it was, well, by the time you blink your eye, it's in the back.
Experienced clubs won a lot of trophies. Been at big clubs. I think Everton are actually quite lucky to have a manager of that calibre, really. But yeah, great experience, and he's got a really good team. He's brought 3 or 4 really good signings, and as he said, they're really proud of the team. They kept going to the end today. I thought they were poor. Well, say poor first half. I thought United were really good first half, and I think Pogba going off was key to the game. Really, I thought they were in complete control with him on the pitch. When Fred came on, well, Fred gets around the pitch okay, but he's not got the quality of Paul Pogba, and it seemed to go a little bit downhill from that moment onwards.
What about, from a United perspective, having gone ahead for 3-2? You don't expect them to lose it from there?
Well, no, you don't, but of course it can happen. It's happened in the past and it'll happen in the future. Of course it will, but they did get a little bit lucky with the goal as well. I don't think Everton's keeper will be totally happy with his part in that. And look, you get a bit of luck, you've got to take it then. You've got to see the game out. When you're in a position and you're possibly a second last 20 minutes, you're not playing as well as you could do, you've got to find a way to see the game out, and unfortunately they couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just take another look at that goal, and just, I mentioned before about the high line that Manchester United had probably just outside their box goals.
Yeah.
Everton have been doing this all season on wide free kicks. They've been defending really deep. Now, the positives of that, obviously your defenders are coming out and heading the ball away. They're never running towards their goal.
Yeah.
But this ball, it's not actually a brilliant ball, is it? You see McTominay,
No.
There's the 2 lines. They're playing, they're not man-to-man marking. They're playing zonal. They've got 2 lines of 4. But you see McTominay just in the middle there. He's almost between the 2 lines, and he makes his way there into that. And, of course, the goalkeeper slips. But what do you think about that in terms of the tactics of defending deep?
Do you know what? I've only really just noticed that in the last couple of weeks. I watched the Milan derby two weeks ago, I think it was, and I noticed AC Milan were doing it. I actually spoke to Phil Neville about it, obviously ex-Everton player, and he said Everton have been doing it all season. Whether it's an Italian thing, I don't know. But I really like it because I think when you have a high line, when, say, you're on the edge of the box, it always gives the free kick taker that space to hit into. There's always somewhere to hit into, and the attacking players are running towards the goal, and there's always that space in that corridor in between the defence and the goalkeeper to get a header, to get a chance on goal, whereas the defenders are always running back in. It's always tricky for them, and it's always difficult to defend. I think this way, it's ideal. Look, I say ideal because it's obviously not ideal because they've scored, but the goalkeeper makes a big mistake here.
The ironic thing is, Steve, with both of these goals, the ball is actually quite average.
Yeah.
You know, the ball is probably near post, the opposite. It's outside the 6-yard box. You're never ever going to score from there unless the goalkeeper makes a mistake, really. So actually, even though it does prove a point that the defensive side of it, even though it gets a clean header, it's not that bad. It was a goalkeeper error.
Yeah, goalkeeper error for me. I think the only way you can score from, or the only way you should be able to score from a free kick like that, when your defence is so deep, if someone just smashes it, absolutely smashes it on goal, it's a lucky ricochet, and you get a little bit unlucky, but again, they've got unlucky there. That should never ever be a goal, and I think it's a great way of defending wide free kicks.
So we've seen two different ways of defending it. Both goals went in, but I think in general terms, I think the Everton way is a better way of defending.
OK, and that first half, let's remind ourselves, you said United were in control, Pogba was on the pitch. Brilliant ball from Rashford for Cavani, first of all, he's scoring again. Yeah,
well, he's a centre-forward. If he gets chances, he's going to score goals. Quality ball from Marcus. No, he's normally better on the left-hand side, but he has got that quality, as Michael said at half-time. He's got all different ways of kicking the ball. That's a great width there. There's a nice little bit of movement from Cavani. It makes Michael Keane just get under the ball a touch, and no, he's not going to miss from 2 yards out.
Yeah, and here we see it again from a different angle, and Rashford gets all the time in the world. He plays it, he just drops off, takes a touch and then quickly delivers. But when you look at the movement of the strikers, again, Cavani is a natural front post runner. He always loves to time that run across the front. But this occasion, he's got Greenwood in front of him, and Greenwood's going to make that movement. Of course, Cavani can see everything ahead of him, so he thinks, right, where's the next best chance of me scoring a goal? And I just love, as we roll it on, watch Cavani's little 2 steps before he moves behind his defender. 1, 2, bang. And as I say, as a striker, we call that opposite movement in the trade. Give one for the defender, and then you tend to get an extra yard or 2 at the back post. The finish, when you're facing, if this is the goal, when you're facing like that, it's very, very difficult to miss the ball. If you're facing with your back to it, you can glance. But when you've got square onto it, it's an easy finish, especially for a man of his quality.
OK, so that's what strikers call that in the trade. What do midfielders call Bruno Fernandes' shot in the trade, Paul?